perhaps you are familiar with this beer. It's a good beer. 60-minute IPA by Dogfish. It's a brewery in Delaware. And the story behind this beer is absolutely fascinating. So I want to tell it to you. A guy named Sam runs Dogfish. And in Sam's early days, he creates this beer called 90-minute IPA. 9% alcohol by volume. Just quick beer facts in case you don't know. So IPA, a very popular bitter style of beer. And then alcohol by volume is the percentage of alcohol that's in the beer. And a Budweiser is, I don't know, something in the 4% area, right? So this is not a 9% beer. 90-minute IPA is the first beer that he comes out with. And it is a 9% IPA. That is a beer that puts you on the floor, right? Just drink straight on the floor. So his distributor comes to him and says, Sam, great beer, very tasty. Can you make a version that people can drink standing up? I think people would enjoy it. And so Sam says, that's a good idea. And he creates this 60-minute IPA, 6% alcohol by volume IPA. And this beer becomes very popular very fast. People love this beer. They need this beer. They have to have this beer. They are ordering this beer and they need it and they need it. And he is starting to get calls from everybody who wants to carry this beer. And very quickly, bars, restaurants, liquor stores, Amtrak, everybody is calling and they're asking for this beer. And very quickly, this beer rockets up so that it is going to become 75 to 80% of all sales of Dogfish. 75 to 80% of everything that this guy sells is going to be this one beer. And people might say, maybe you're thinking, fantastic, sell that beer. We got to sell that beer. Who doesn't want a hit product? That is fantastic. That is what we're in business for. But Sam realizes something. He realizes he's got a problem. And the problem is that tastes change, which means that at some point, IPAs will not be nearly as popular as they are in that moment. And then as soon as that happens, Sam goes from being a hot brand to an old brand. And so Sam does something that sounds very, very counterintuitive and dangerous, which is that he limits sales of his best-selling product. Remember now, it could have been 75 to 80% of all sales of Dogfish, and instead, he caps it at 50%, which means that there are a lot of people, bars, restaurants, liquor stores, Amtrak, actually, that call and they say, I would like to carry this beer. And he says, I'm so sorry, we don't have it. We're out. And then they are angry. They are furious. They are screaming at him on the streets. I have walked around the streets of Delaware with Sam. He is like Beyonce in Delaware. People are loving him. They're taking selfies. They're screaming at him on the streets. And I asked Sam, did you ever doubt this? And he said, never. Because he understood that he had to take some pain right now for the long-term health of his business. He had to change before he was forced to. And he saw it as an education opportunity. Somebody calls and they ask for the beer and he says, I'm sorry, we don't have it. We make it fresh and it's just not available right now. But in the meantime, why don't you try some of our other styles of beer? Why don't you try our Saison? And that is how Sam leverages this moment to become not an IPA brand that would eventually turn into an old brand, but rather as an innovative brand. And that is the kind of brand that you can sell for $300 million, because that's what he did. That is not what you do when you are a brand, when you are a person that just waits for change to smash you in the face. That is what happens when you are proactive, when you change before you must, when you say, I see something coming on the horizon and I am going to take control of it now. I'm going to do it on my own terms. That is the only way.